Thank you. What a great honor it is for us to be here today. I've been absolutely floored by the presentations that we've seen so far, and I hope ours stands up to those in context. I want to begin by asking you to take a look at this artwork on the screen. This is a pen and ink drawing by Pyrenees of Pompeii, drawn in around 1770. And I just want you to hold it in your heads as I speak today, to think about what Pyrenees was doing here, what this drawing is. It's an artwork, as you can see. It's also an archive of some description because of his approach, which I'll speak more about later. And of course, it's about the heritage of Pompeii, sites like which are a great topic of discussion today. So the Cultural Institute, as was described, this is our Google's non-profit platform for cultural heritage. We work with museums, institutions, archives, various cultural organizations all over the world in order to provide a platform to showcase that material. And the platform comes in several parts. Some are for the museums, CMS system, storytelling mechanisms, and others are the public website, most of which I'll be showing you screenshots of today. Now, the project has kind of three major themes around art, around archives, and around heritage. And I'll take you quickly on a guided tour through what they mean. So the first, around art, this was the earliest incantation of the project. It's where I got involved. I used to work for the Tate in London, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. We began working with Google on a project in order to get some of Google's technology in order to showcase that art to a wider audience and to do things with the technology that were not possible for museum visitors in order to provide a really kind of supplemental, fantastic experience using the technology of today. Cut a long story short, I now work for Google on the same project, which is much bigger. We work with organizations all over the world of many different sizes and shapes. So here's one of my favorite works from the project. This is a museum in the Philippines. The staff at this museum make these objects which tell stories from Philippine history. So this diorama has been created by the museum staff and various researchers. Here to give you a kind of quick scan of the type of art masterpieces that we work with. To take one here, the ambassadors in the National Gallery just a couple of miles down the road, obviously a very well-known artwork. So what are Google doing, and what can we do to apply technology to do something new and interesting here? Well, we have what's called Gigapixel Photography, which is super high-resolution photography, enabling you to see the artworks at a detail that you really can't see when you visit the painting in person. So if I slowly move into the globe here, obviously these are slides. On the website, this is a very smooth experience. We can go right into the globe, and you can see a stunning level of detail of this 500-year-old artwork, see the cracks in the paint, and go right up and see things that are really impossible to see. And just to give you a context, I'll go back. So I invite you, if you have a second and you live or you're a visitor to London, to have a look at the National Gallery and have a look at this artwork and see the comparison in person. The second aspect where we want to apply our technology is around Street View. So, as I'm sure you're familiar, Street View is where we drive cars around the roads around the world, enabling you to take a look at them in 3D. Now, a fantastic and rich use of that is to take it inside some of these cultural sites, some museums, for example. So here we are inside the Acropolis Museum in Athens. You can walk around, you can see this fantastic museum, which many of you will know is at an incredible site right next to the Acropolis itself. And when you're walking around, if you see an individual object that you are interested in, you can click on the marker, and then that will bring up a 2D image of that object or artwork, and again, which you can then zoom in, take a closer look, read curatorial notes, or what have you. So that's kind of a quick overview of the art side of things. The second aspect of what we do at the Cultural Institute is around history and historic archives. And again, this was a project that started separately, and we've now brought together under one roof. What we realized that in archives around the world, which are fantastically rich and diverse, there are kind of two challenges around that. One is about accessibility to that material, and the second is around storytelling, because unlike artwork, archive material does not necessarily speak for itself. It might need interpretation or curation at a different level. So we built an exhibit, a storytelling tool, creating online exhibits, and we've worked with many dozens of archive partners so far to tell stories from history in our online format. So here you can get a glimpse of what some of those archives are. And it's critical, as I go through the presentation, for you to remember about the positioning that I gave you of art and about archives, and then later heritage, because we think all three are interrelated. So here, to give you a glimpse of what the archive format looks like, this was put together by the curators at Nelson Mandela Center of Memory about Nelson Mandela's prison years. You scroll left to right and you read curatorial insight, and you can take a look at individual archive assets. Here, just jumped into a letter written by Nelson Mandela to his two daughters. He's writing it from prison, and it was just after Winnie Mandela was also imprisoned. So this is a very touching moment. I have two daughters myself, and he's writing to them saying that they're not going to see their parents for a very long time. So on the right we have the original, which you can zoom into. On the left we have a transcript. So this is a fantastically useful, I think, use of technology to be able to tell something from relatively modern history, but certainly of great global importance. Our exhibit format has continued to develop because we recognize that there are many ways to tell stories from different sources. So here we recently worked with the Palace of Versailles to incorporate some archive material in a more full-screen immersive experience, enabling you to view aspects of the Palace of Versailles' artwork, archive material, and then combining Street View. So on the live website you can have a walk around this bedroom and see it as it is today, and you can compare that with the archive material and the paintings that you can see, and I hope you can observe a trend where we're kind of bringing these things together, these uses of technology, these different sources of data, things from art, things from archives, and so on. So on to the third project of perhaps the most obvious relevance today. We call this World Wonders. This is a project, again, beginning with Street View, taking our Street View technology to some of the most amazing cultural heritage sites around the world, working in partnership with UNESCO, World Monuments Fund, CyArk, lots of other organizations, in order to take Street View to fantastic locations. So here's a glimpse of Stonehenge. You can have a look at the have a walk around Stonehenge, which you may or may not have ever visited or be able to visit, because of course this is globally accessible. So this is democratizing access to sites like this. And here back to Pompeii. Now here, I think our platform is beginning to really mature because we're bringing together these different aspects. If you see on the screen at the top, you've got the street view, and of course you can jump in and have a walk around. So we're pretty happy with that. That's a kind of good baseline for us. But of more interest, I think, is how we're bringing together the different material from different partners, because this project is absolutely collaborative in nature. So here on the screen, you see a glimpse of material that is from multiple sources, multiple different partners, from art museums, from archives, from other cultural organizations. The top right, you can see the famous cast of a dog that was recently shown in the British Museum. And here, just on the screen alone, you can see artworks and archives relating to this topic. This begins to build a bigger picture around what the idea of Pompeii is, what the story is, and is a starting point for us to be able to then offer tools to storytellers, to curators, to experts, to scholars, to be able to tell a story from a more complete perspective. So what a thrill it is for us to have something like these CyArk images, which you can see situated in this context. I think this actually offers a fourth dimension from beginning with art, archives, heritage, and now this digital heritage. This is something new, and CyArk and the technology partners that we see here today are doing something that is relatively new to us at the Google Cultural Institute, but is of equal importance to the work that we've done so far to be able to tell not only stories of the past, but be able to protect the future. So I want to say briefly a bit about the audience for who this might be, because lots of this material is globally famous, but it's often for a kind of specialist audience. Well, the art project site that we have today, so we think it's actually a very general audience, okay? We think it's people who are generalists, who are tourists, who are school children, who are people who are sort of vaguely interested in these things, people who might be passers-by. Having worked at the Tate, I know that a big chunk of the audience is people who are simply going for a walk along the River Thames. And that source of audience is extremely legitimate, because if you can get those people to begin their cultural journey, you can then take them on a journey via the cultural work that you undertake. So we conceive that audience in exactly the same way, that it's very global, it's very general, it's very broad. Here is our Google Plus page, which we're proud to say is the #1 page on Google Plus. Almost 7 million followers at the moment. So this is a very generalist audience, and every day we're providing to them snippets, insights, introductions to some of the cultural heritage work that is undertaken by our partners and lots of the people in the room. And we're proud to be a kind of a platform to be able to get that new audience in front of this important cultural work. So where are we going, and what are we going to do with all of this? What we've just done is completed the integration of those three kind of sources, of the art, of the archives, of the heritage. And so we continue to expand about what that means. That means working with different kinds of partners. It means working in more countries. I think we work in about 55 or 56 different countries so far. We have hundreds of different partners, but we're kind of obviously keen to work on more. And we work in different cultural sectors, and we're also keen to work on more as well. As I say, the integration is now complete between those things, because we consider them part of one cultural project that has a continuum. And it's about distribution. We've, up to now, invested in technology, and we've built fantastic tools for this that are both behind the scenes and that are what you see on the front page of the website. So this is great. This is a good starting point. At the moment, you can come and visit the website, the Cultural Institute, and you can see all of this stuff in action. The next phase is really about distributing that technology, about enabling others to use it, whoever they might be. That's things like our Zoom viewer, our exhibition platform, our search, our faceted navigation, all of the things that power what you see on the website, and enabling that to be accessible to a much wider audience. Back to the Pyrenees artwork. So here, Pyrenees actually made several visits to Pompeii and was actually undergoing something of a kind of scientific journey in the drawings that he made of these locations. So this artwork was actually in a museum in Denmark, so we have a kind of global picture taking place, and a reminder that what Pyrenees was doing was using the best technology of the day as an accomplished draftsman and artist, using the best technology of the day in order to capture these sites. So I think CyArk and the technology partners are kind of doing something similar, and inheriting work that's been going on for hundreds of years in one form or another, but is now so much more accomplished, so much more powerful, so much more thrilling to be a part of and to witness, that it's really a great honor for us at the Cultural Institute to be working with partners like this, to be able to showcase both artistic and scientific endeavors towards the accessibility and the prevention of damage to cultural heritage, that it's a great thrill for us at the Cultural Institute to be a part of a wider project like that. And I hope that you can take a look and enjoy it and get in touch if you'd like to collaborate. Thank you.